It's America's coolest conservative and the future king of talk radio. 107.9 FM WBT presents The TJ Ritchie Show.
1, 2, 3, here we go.
It is Friday. Got to get down on Friday. Hello, brothers and sisters. It's Shemaine TJ. All up in the house. Actually, all off up in the house. That's where I am. Thank you so much for being here. Hopefully you'll stay the entire 2 hours of the show, because it's going to be pretty entertaining. I ain't going to lie. If I do say so myself, I'm flexing on y'all. Flexing on y'all. If you listen to this show for, I'd say, like, maybe at least 30 minutes tonight, you're going to be going, wow, not only does he deserve to be paid, he deserves to be the highest paid person in all of radio. That's what you're going to be saying. That's it. That's what you're going to be saying. All right, so it's a big weekend. The Super Bowl is this weekend, and I will give you my choice, who I'm hoping wins the Super Bowl. I'll give you that in a little while, because I cannot, not even when I'm just talking about it. Okay, sorry, I said the name of the game, and I thought that was just in advertisements that I couldn't say it. But I apologize. I won't say it anymore. Scratch that bit from the roster tonight. Okay, well, there goes all of that I was saying about having a great show tonight. Hey, was there a memo about that, Lonnie?
Yeah, man. Email came out from.
Was it an email from me?
From I was hoping. Well, I hope that you were on it, but yeah, it was Mike, Mr. Shaker.
Okay. When did it come out?
Maybe a few weeks ago.
Okay. All right. Well, I apologize. All the years I've been in the business, we could say it outside of advertisements. And I've been in this business a long time. Long time. All right. So, is Mike calling already?
No.
Okay.
but he'll text.
Oh, wait. All right. He just texted me. You are 100% absolutely allowed to say Super Bowl in a conversation. The restriction is only related to advertising. Thank you, Mike.
Oh, okay. Well,
that's what I thought, being a 50-year veteran of the radio business. But you never know how that liberal NFL is going to be. Maybe they could make a rule that says anybody but conservative people can say Super Bowl in a conversation. That's maybe what they say. But anyway, all right, so put that back on the roster. I will be giving my pick for who I want to win the Super Bowl. And the reason why that matters is because I don't care for either one of these teams that much. I mean, they're not my team. But I have to, when it's not my favorite teams, I have to decide who I'm going to root for. I have to go and look at other things about the team before I decide which one I'm going to root for. And I'll give you a little bit of a hint. Since one of the teams is housed in Massachusetts and the other one is in the state of Washington, Seattle and Boston, you can only imagine how I decide which one it's going to be. The criteria I use. All right. So we also have, next week is Valentine's Day. Now, my wife and I have never been big Valentine's Day celebrateurs. We don't really get into that as a romantic thing because it's just a made up event. I used to do on Valentine's Day at night for dinner, I would make heart-shaped pancakes for my children, but they're grown now, and so I don't do it anymore, obviously, because one of them lives in Nashville now. But my wife and I are not what you would call romantic people. You know, we love each other and all of that, but, you know, a lot of times acts of romance are kind of just like melodramatic and whatnot. So we don't do that. Lonnie, do you and your girlfriend, you'll go all out for Valentine's Day? Is that a big day for y'all?
I'm, you know me, man. I feel like Valentine's Day is for the ladies, and a little chocolate, a little bear, and that's about it.
Yeah, but not like if you didn't come home in a tuxedo and put rose petals all over the house, then she's not going to be upset about it.
She would like something like that, but nah, she wouldn't be upset.
Oh, really? Okay, well, I saw this statistic today that said that 17% of people admit that they're treating themselves to a Valentine's Day gift this year. So 17% of the people in this survey are going to buy themselves a Valentine's Day gift. Now, first of all, you don't buy yourself a gift. You just buy something for yourself. You can't, and first of all, another thing, people have got to stop using the word gift in a verb form. Gift is a noun. If you're giving someone a gift, you are giving it to them. You're not gifting it to them. We got to protect the language, y'all. We got to protect the language. But I know this is not going to be a shocker to you. The most likely age group to buy themselves something for Valentine's Day is the millennial generation. Oh, my God. Shocker. The millennials. I'm going to buy myself a gift for Valentine's Day. The first everybody gets a trophy generation. So you don't have a romantic partner. So you just take that opportunity to go buy yourself something. And they do that. These people do that thinking that what they're doing is empowering and who needs someone? But it actually is, it's kind of sad. Because if you want to buy something for yourself, just buy it. Don't call it a gift of some sort. Don't call it a Valentine's Day gift. Just go buy it. You know what? I was at the Costco today. And you know what I did? I bought a pair of pants. Did I buy myself a gift? Hell no, I didn't. I bought myself a pair of pants. Now, I can save them and not wear them until February 14th. Does that mean I bought myself a Valentine's Day gift? No. It's just more of the symbolism over substance that the millennial generation is all about. You can't buy yourself a gift. You can't gift yourself or anybody else anything because that's not a thing. And what happened to the strong, independent power move is to say, I'm not with anybody this Valentine's Day. I'm not going to be getting a gift or anything, but I'm fine with that. I'd rather not have anybody than be with the wrong person. So, no, that's where you look strong and independent. It's not where hey, I don't need anybody. I bought myself a Valentine's Day gift. That is like sending yourself flowers to work. Having flowers delivered to yourself. Now I know, Lonnie, aren't you the one that told me that producer Andrew used to always have flowers sent to himself at work to make it look like he had a sweetheart?
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Man, that's sad. That is sad. Oh well. I hope I've taught some people something tonight. The main lesson should be stop using the word gift as a verb. That's the main thing. And then don't send yourself Valentine's Day gifts or buy yourself Valentine's Day gifts. Just buy yourself something. Don't call it a gift to yourself because that's not possible. Because a gift is something you give, right? So you can't give yourself something. To give somebody something is to let them have it at no charge, right? I'm letting you have this. You can't let yourself have something. You can't give yourself anything. You can take it. You can't give it to yourself. All right. Glad we got the important topic out of the way. And glad we got the whole thing settled where I can say Super Bowl in a conversation about the Super Bowl and Super Bowl things. Okay. I'm going to say it a million times tonight.
Producers mess up too, guys. Okay.
Oh, was that you that messed up, Lonnie?
Yeah, that was
I
me.
never would have thought that. I didn't know that. If you hadn't mentioned it, I would not have known that you were the one that got that messed up. Wow. Oh, okay. Well, hang on. We got more stuff coming up. .9 WBT, Charlotte's FM News Talk. It's the TJ Ritchie Show. You know who I am. I am TJ Ritchie, thus the TJ Ritchie Show. It's Friday night. Ramming, jamming, on the air everywhere. Thank you for being here. If you want to call or text, the number is 704-570-1079. Texting is driven by Liberty Buick GMC. Okay. This is serious business. You know, I am always the first one, and it's usually every night. I will go on and on about this because it's one of the things that I think is breaking our country apart socially. And that is when someone cries racism when there's no racism. They cry racism just because they're trying to diffuse an argument that's not going their way, or they are trying to divert attention away from what it is that they've done wrong. So they just start screaming racism and victimhood and all of that. But when true racism rears its ugly head, I want to point that out as well. Now, I have had to edit this sound clip down a little bit because it was really long, this young lady's story. But the gist of it is that she is a teacher in Georgia. And she is young, probably about, 28 or 29. She looks to be a black lady. And she's one of those teachers that goes from school to school, it sounds like. So she's in some sort of a special teachers program where she doesn't have a home school that she goes to every day. She goes throughout the schools in her area. And she was telling the story of something that happened to her when she went to one of her schools that she works at sometimes. It was a private school. And while she was there, she finished up with the student that she was there to see, and then she kind of got lost about where to go to find the stairs that she came in on and all that. And then one of the other teachers there stopped to help her. So we pick up the story of where she is, when she said she went back the next time to the school and what the lady said to her at the front office. Listen.
She was like, oh, there was an admin that saw you in the building last week when you were here. And she just didn't know who you were or if you were supposed to be here. And so, we looked on the cameras and we saw you. And I was like, oh, no, she's supposed to be here. But we also saw that you weren't wearing your badge, like the printout. And I was like, maybe it was on. I know I gave her the badge. So maybe it was like she had a sweater on and she took it off. But, I told her you're supposed to be here. But she told me to make sure that that you have to wear the badge, because how else are we supposed to know that you belong in the building? And, she was just really concerned about that. So security was supposed to speak with you. But, it's fine. And I know you usually wear the badge. So don't even worry about it. But, I just had to tell you that it's really important that you wear the badge. First of all, I had the badge on. It's a sticker. I had it on and I was wearing a cardigan, and I think it was under my cardigan, so they didn't see it. Second of all, I've been here since the beginning of the year. We passed the 100th day of school. To me, it just feels I feel surveilled. I feel like I'm being watched, and I just wonder if they're treating other people this way, and I feel like I know the answer. It just gave me an icky feeling. I didn't like it. And it's tough because they didn't say or do anything wrong. Yes, visitors should wear the visitor badge. I understand that. I had the badge on. I didn't like the way it went. If you had questions about who I was when you saw me, why didn't you ask who I was when you saw me? Why didn't you ask the principal that hired me to be here? Or any of the other admin that know exactly who I am, or the teachers that know exactly who I am? Why did you feel the need to go to the recording to show people this black lady was in the building? Who is this and why is she here? That's what it's giving. That's what it's giving. That's what it gave to me. Am I overreacting?
I don't think so at all. Not overreacting one tiny bit. I mean, you were wearing the badge, but nobody could see the badge. That's their problem. That's not your problem. That's their problem. They couldn't see the badge. And so what if it's a school and they have to be hyper vigilant about who comes and goes and who's around the kids? They should have found somebody that knows you and could have vouched for you before they went and looked at a surveillance camera. Yes, that is what it's giving. You gotta be kidding me. First of all, you mean to tell you how you can always tell if somebody is being over dramatic with something? If they just use the term microaggression and they're not using it as a joke, then just don't take heed to anything they're saying. If they use that term microaggression, it's a made up term, and it is made up because that way, even though nobody has done anything that would be considered offensive or racist or treating anybody any differently than they would any other color of person, you can still say they're racist because that was a microaggression. It's so tiny, it's almost invisible to the naked eye, but it's still what it is. And people can't even help that they're giving these microaggressions. You see, that's made up by the Marxists who want to keep us divided. It's made up by people who are racist themselves, and they want to keep society from getting along with each other. That's exactly what it is. So this woman goes into a school knowing she's supposed to have a badge, can't see the badge. Lady, she said they were nice to her. Just said, and I'm sure they were. I'm sure they were over the top, afraid that they were going to offend her and say something to get them accused of being racist. I bet they probably went to the video to look so they wouldn't have to ask her about it. Say, oh, please let her be showing a badge that we can see. Oh, we don't want to ask her about this. I guarantee you that's the way it went. But here's the thing. Just a personal example. If you work for WBT Radio, Charlotte's FM News Talk, and you're in the building, you have to have your official WBT employee badge on you and visible. Doesn't matter who you are, even somebody who is as famous in this town as I am. I have to, and I would never imagine not putting it on when I came in and just saying, oh, you know who I am. Why don't you know who I am? In even a bigger example than that, Bo Thompson from the morning show has worked at WBT since he was 11 years old or something like that. He may have even been there, when they may have gotten him to hold a board in place so they could hammer it in. That's how long he's been working at WBT and been involved with the WBT. And he has to wear a badge in the building when he's there. Now that I think about it, you know what? I think 107.9 WBT Charlotte's FM News Talk is giving microaggressions. I feel that. Microaggressions. But you see, when you run around and you're constantly looking for ways that you can be offended or claim that you are put upon or you're a victim of something, it has gotten to where with the left, that's what gives them energy. That's what gives them a feeling of being important. To have people think that they're a victim and to have that power. You know, it's a power move. Because you've offended me, now I have all power over you and everybody else in here. Now you're gonna jump and do what I say. Because I say you're giving microaggressions of racism. So y'all better step to it. I'm a victim. You know, Generation X, my generation, we're the last ones, the last generation to not look for victimhood as a power move. Give me a break. Give me a huge break. That's what I want. All right, I'm running late here. Got to take a break. Hang on. Let's begin now. 107.9 WBT, Charlotte's FM News Talk. It's the TJ Ritchie Show. Excuse me. Friday night. I'm feeling good, looking good, smelling good. Just going with the groove, baby. Just going with the groove. All right. I am America's coolest conservative, the green-eyed patriot, TJ Ritchie, and you are part of my family. Thank you so much. I know a lot of people, though, you know, just imagine people in the big city who work late and, you know, aren't going home from work until this time of night, you know, been working hard all day. And I just imagine that feeling that people get, like, finally, and I don't have to work tomorrow. So hopefully if you're in that situation, you're spending a few minutes with us tonight. Hope you get something valuable out of it. Worth your time. So, the Super Bowl. I'm really not that into the Super Bowl in general because I like football. And I much prefer the playoff games to the actual Super Bowl because it's more football and less hype and flashing lights and all of the other stuff. And I don't want to sound like that old guy, you know. It's about the game, you know, but it is. You know, all of the things that go on around the Super Bowl, and it also brings more wall-to-wall coverage from sports people, which, you know, let's face it, a lot of sports people are annoying. So annoying. Not the ones on our sister station, of course, but the other ones, those ESPN ones and stuff, most of them. But I will watch the Super Bowl. I also don't like how long the pregame activities are. I mean, at the celebrities and all of that stuff. You know, I don't like celebrities. But I do have to choose a team who, you know, because I don't care who you are. You cannot sit down and watch a football game and not have a preference, even if it's a little bit, as to who you want to see win, which team. So I don't really have anything for either one of these teams. If I root for a team or teams, because I have more than one team that I like. Obviously, Panthers, that's my favorite team. I like the Saints because I'm from Louisiana. Don't root for them over the Panthers, though. Don't get that twisted. I like the Cincinnati Bengals because I'm from Louisiana, and the entire state owes Joe Burrow a debt of gratitude that we'll never be able to pay. And it just depends. mostly if I'm in a neutral situation, I've got to determine which team I disagree with less politically. Okay? Again, it comes back to the question, when I first started doing this show and getting into this being my first job in talk radio, news talk, everybody's wondering, how conservative are you? How conservative? It all even comes down to which team I root for in ball games, whether they're baseball games, football games, whatever. So looking at these two teams, Seattle and New England, right away, you can't go with which city is less liberal, because they're both just wackos. Both cities are wacko. Both states are wacko liberals. Just can't widen it to the state. Oh, as a side note, I never ever root for the Eagles, because their ownership is liberal and their fans act uncivilized, and I don't think that anything good should come to those Eagles fans because they act uncivilized. And I don't ever root for the Steelers in any situation, because the Rooney family, the ones that owned the Steelers, helped get Obama elected. So obviously they're too liberal for me to root for them. I don't ever want them to win, which is weird because the Pittsburgh Steelers was Rush Limbaugh's favorite team. So give you an idea where my mind goes. Never the Eagles, never the Steelers. I'm in a quandary, though, about the Bills, because I used to like the Bills, but then they were, I think, the only NFL franchise that didn't do a moment of silence for Charlie Kirk. So I'm in a quandary now, because Joe Brady is now their head coach, and Joe Brady was the coach of the offense at LSU when they had the best college team in the history of college football. Joe Burrow and Jamar Chase and Justin Jefferson, all those guys. But still, I don't think I'm going to be rooting for Buffalo anymore. So Seattle, and you might as well say Boston. That's what we're looking at. But I like the fact that Drake May is the quarterback of the Patriots. He's from Charlotte. I like the fact that the rookie offensive lineman for the Patriots, his name is Campbell. He was an LSU guy, and one of their best receivers, whose last name is Butte, is LSU. But it really comes down to the fact that if you're going to take a city and pick which one is less liberal, it's going to be Boston. So I'm going to go for the Patriots, because I can't even imagine visiting Seattle. It just makes my skin crawl to think about it. And everybody always goes, it's a beautiful city. It's a beautiful city. Yes. Yeah. So I get that. But it's also filled with lunatic liberal maniacs. Dirty ones at that. Ugh. But at least Boston has, the history of the founding of the country and all of that patriotic stuff, which I'm surprised they still allow that there with all of their local communists running everything. But that's it. That's how I determine which team I will root for in a contest between two teams I really don't like, either way. I can take or leave. I take the one that's less liberal. And I suggest you do the same. And why do I suggest you do the same? Because the more people in this world who can be like me, the better off this world will be. It's just that simple. And you know it. You know it too. Okay. Gonna take a break. More coming up next. Charlotte's FM News Talk 107.9 WBT. Rocking at the speed of light. It's the TJ Ritchie Show. I'm TJ Ritchie, the Maine, America's coolest conservative, and I don't have to explain why. You hear it with your own 2 ears. You hear it. 704-570-1079. That's the phone number. And if you would like to chat, you want to chat it up, we can do that. As long as you are sharp to be on the radio, because, I mean, we're not running amateur hour here. You know what I'm saying? Okay, so we got Tara on the phone. Tara, how you doing, Miss Lady?
Hello. I have listened to you with Ace and TJ, and I just knew you were very smart. I'm very happy that you're with 107.9. I love all your innuendos and your funny stuff you talk about, and stand up for what's right. And I just want to tell you, I'm a conservative woman that loves a conservative man and doesn't apologize for it. And we need more men like you. We need to grow some balls in the country.
You know what? I tell my wife that almost daily, that we need more men like me. I say, Jody, I don't know why you're complaining about me, because we need more men like me in this country.
And I think she's got more balls than you have.
Have you ever seen a woman that rolls her eyes so hard that you can hear it? That's what my wife does.
I think I'm doing it right now. Yeah.
All right. Well, thank you so much, Tara. You're very kind. It means a lot.
I love that you brought some new light and new. My husband says, I like him because he sounds like he's just talking to somebody on the phone, like a friend on the phone. And that's not something my husband throws out very often.
Well, tell him I said thank you. You're going to make me tear up.
Will do. Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah. All right. Thanks, man.
Thank you, Tara. Thanks for calling. Obviously, a plant. That was what you call a ringer. We gave her a script. That's what she was supposed to say. Good job. Good acting. Acting? In case you don't know, sometimes I get a little uncomfortable with compliments. Because I then have to make it self-deprecating. Sorry. But I don't. I'm trying to get into not doing that. Because if you're not good with receiving compliments, then it kind of makes the person who's complimenting you feel like feel awkward. So I try to not do that, but it's hard because I always have to try to make a joke out of everything. And I don't mean to do that. I really appreciate what she and her husband think of me, because that's exactly what I'm going for. What her husband said is exactly what I go for every night in the presentation of this show. And I want all of y'all to know that. All 11 of you. We're just friends hanging out. Hanging out. It'd be more like friends hanging out, if my wife would let me smoke a cigar in here while I'm doing the show. But she's weird about that. About the house smelling like stogies. Ooh, I guess I could slam that water down a little bit harder on the desk here. Make a little more noise. Okay. Let's see. There is a funny thing that is going on right now, because we're coming to the end of the day. It's still my work day. So all day today has been working naked day. So my work day hasn't ended. So that's what I'm doing to celebrate. I'm observing working naked day, in case you're wondering. I'm very sentimental about these holidays, and I always want to make sure that I'm celebrating them the right way. to pay tribute to those who came before me. So being naked. Now, I've been hearing a lot of people say that this is such bad news for America and all that. When an iconic company is experiencing hard financial times and possibly having to go bankrupt or close a bunch of their stores and things like that, you hate to see that in America, because it means most of the time that people look at as to them, it means something sentimental is going away. I mean, you see these things on the internet all the time where they'll go, oh, look at all of these restaurants that no longer exist. And you look at that and go, Schlotzsky's is not a deli anymore. I thought I just saw a Schlotzsky's. You go, oh, this is sad. And they put this sad music behind every, storefront that they put in the little pictures there. But big news hit this week about Eddie Bauer closing, I think, all of their brick and mortar stores. Now I used to like Eddie Bauer stuff. They had an Eddie Bauer store in the South Park Mall, and it was kind of in a corner downstairs. There used to be, I don't know, I haven't been in a mall since George W. Bush. So I don't know if this is still in South Park Mall, but there used to be like a fountain as soon as you walked into one of the entrances there. And then to the right, there was a little short distance to get to the department store, whatever it was. And then right there in that corner was a little Eddie Bauer store. And I used to go in there every time I go to South Park Mall. I'd make that one of my places I would go, because they had cool little pullover thermal looking shirts. Eddie Bauer. But then I start, a few years later, seeing that Eddie Bauer had a lot of liberal things that they were doing. They weren't our kind of people. And then, of course, when they start talking about store closures and all of this stuff, that it was the go woke, go broke syndrome. It says this is from Breitbart. It says, in 2020, amid nationwide protests following the killing of George Floyd, Eddie Bauer President Damian Huang issued a public statement declaring, because Black Lives Matter, full stop. As president of Eddie Bauer, I want to use my position and the platform we have to amplify this important message. And he said, on behalf of Eddie Bauer, and outlined donations and internal initiatives tied to the so-called diversity and left-wing ideology that calls itself anti-racism, while embracing racist attitudes towards white people. And they're saying that was what really caused people to look at Eddie Bauer as a retailer in a different way. Which, again, I don't have a problem with any business. If you own a business, you should be able to have whatever opinions you want to have. You should be able to, if you want to donate money to somebody, donate it. This is a capitalist system. You do what you do. And then let the consumer decide as to whether or not they want to continue doing business with you. My family gets so mad at me because I have a giant list of businesses that, as long as anybody is getting any money from me to help them live in my family, they're not allowed to buy stuff from these stores because of their political activism and everything. Now, once my kids are completely on their own and they're even paying for their own cell phones, they get off the family plan, then they can go buy and do whatever they want to do. They can buy as much Levi's stuff as they want. It's up to them. But as long as they're getting $1 from me every month, no. That's just one of the companies. San Francisco based, All right. First hour flew by. We'll get into that second hour and award the Demon of the Day sometime in there. Next.
He's America's coolest conservative and the future king of talk radio. 107.9 FM WBT presents The TJ Ritchie Show. 1, 2, 3, 4.
All right, here we go. Hour 2. Ladies and gentlemen, brothers and sisters. I got to make a correction here. Yes. Even I make mistakes, and when I do, I correct them quickly. Or as all of the gay guys used to say when I was a theater major at Louisiana Tech University, we do it quick like a bunny. 2 shakes of a lamb's tail. It seems that the example that I pulled off the top of my head a minute ago when I was talking about the companies in America that no longer exist, I said like Schlotsky's. Well, a nice lady called and said there are still Schlotsky's delis in the world, and she knows of one, and so does young Andrew, producer Andrew, in Gastonia, in the gas house. So, and then I looked it up, and there's still probably like 290 something Schlotsky's locations. Most of them are in Texas, though. Okay, so a better example when I was talking about that could have been Blockbuster or Circuit City, Toys R Us, but Toys R Us is coming back, I think. So that would have been a bad example. Okay, be that as it may. All right, Super Bowl weekend, and those chicks on The View had a big discussion about the racism, of course, of one Mr. Kid Rock, because of Kid Rock's comments about the difference between the halftime show that Turning Point USA is going to put on versus Bad Bunny being the halftime performer in the Super Bowl. So let's listen to what these cackling hens, these brain trusts are saying here about the Super Bowl halftime shows. Listen.
A quote from Kid Rock and ask you what you think. He said, so this is from Kid Rock taking jabs at Bad Bunny. Quote, he said he's having a dance party wearing a dress and singing in Spanish. Cool. We plan to play great songs for folks who love America, unquote. Mm-hmm. So in other words, if you're speaking in Spanish and you want to dance, that makes you un-American, according to Kid Rock.
Yes, and so many people have said that they have this foreign act in the Bad Bunny performing for halftime. Just for a public service announcement for those people, Puerto Ricans are American citizens because Puerto Rico is a territory of the United States. So all Puerto Ricans that are born in Puerto Rico or here on the mainland are American citizens. So Bad Bunny, while he speaks Spanish, as Anna does, as I do, we're all Americans. I think what's fascinating is that this off-brand type of halftime show is even happening. Because they think that Bad Bunny is not American. And think about all the other acts that have performed during halftime, like Phil Collins. He's from the UK, okay? The Who, UK. U2, UK.
They got us.
Coldplay, UK.
They got
They're
us.
not American, and that didn't make the halftime show un-American. It is so very racist what is happening in this country about
clap it up for girl.
Let's just call a thing a thing.
Thank you, Sonny. Thank you, Sonny. Speaking not only your truth, but all of our truths. You damn right. What a great point. They didn't say Phil Collins or Coldplay or U2 were un-American. In your face. From the great litigator, Sonny Hostin. Now, first thing, there's a difference in somebody being un-American and somebody being anti-American. That's the problem people have with Bad Bunny. One of the problems. He is anti-American. American. There is a truth bomb. Boom. And he is also, well, Phil Collins, U2, Coldplay, while they're not Americans, they speak the same language as Americans. They did not purposely go and learn a foreign language that Americans, for the most part, don't understand, so they could, just sing in Spanish as a way to stick it in the eye of traditional Americans, the way Jay-Z and Bad Bunny have collaborated here to do. So, I'm sorry, Counselor Sonny Hostin, but none of your arguments make any sense. And if you pick a person to be the entertainer for the biggest show in the world, and that person purposely does not speak English to the American people, and the vast majority of people cannot understand what he's saying, and if he's wearing a dress and dressing like a woman, that is un-American. You know why? Because American men mostly, almost probably 99% or more of American men don't wear dresses. It's not American culture. It's not American tradition. You know what else is not American tradition or American culture? Speaking Spanish. And I don't care whether you came from Puerto Rico or you came from Tasmania. If you speak a language that is not English, then it's un-American. It's not that hard, Sonny. It's not that hard, Joy. You just always got to be saying something. That's all y'all do. Just sit there and talk and act like you're so brilliant. You got those hens in the audience clapping. Now I'm saying, if somebody likes watching The View so much that you go and sit and apply for tickets to go sit in the audience of The View, then they need to just lock the doors behind you and just keep you in there until you get your mind right. That's all I'm saying. But let's hear. Wait, again. I didn't even think that Kid Rock's quote was that bad to begin with. Let's listen. What was it that Joy said he said?
A quote from Kid Rock and ask you what you think. He said, so this is from Kid Rock taking jabs at Bad Bunny. Quote, he said he's having a dance party wearing a dress and singing in Spanish. Cool. We plan to play great songs for folks who love America, unquote. Mm-hmm.
Exactly. You know why? Because those things, wear a dress and speaking Spanish, are anti-American. That is not the way America is. And to do those things is to defiantly stick it in the faces of traditional Americans. And I'm not talking about just traditional American white people. You know who else doesn't speak Spanish and mostly doesn't go for men wearing dresses? That would be the African American community. So, I guess Bad Bunny and Jay-Z don't care about them either, do they? This is just another reason why liberal women should not be allowed to vote or speak out in public. I'm kidding. If they weren't allowed to speak out in public, what would I do? I'd have no show every night. So thank you once again, Hens on the View, for being fodder for the greatest talk radio show that has ever lived. I appreciate you. Hang on, more next. It's the TJ Ritchie Show, on the air everywhere. I'm TJ Ritchie, 107.9 WBT, Charlotte's FM News Talk. Old, white, and gifted. All right, so it's fun Friday fun time. Call, text, 704-570-1079. Text is driven by Liberty Buick GMC, and this is a good one. At the top of the show, I was talking about trying to get, as President Obama would say, get a movement started where we just completely stamp out the use of the word gift as a verb, like I gifted that to them, or they gifted it to me. Gift is a noun. You give a gift. That's the verb form of gift, is give. Okay, so we got this message right after that. I didn't see it when it came in, but it said, TJ, that's some strong feelings about the use of gift. How do you feel about the word regift? Same thing. He regifted that. No, it was given to him as a gift, and then he gave it to somebody else as a gift. And it's a little more wordy, but still, right is right. And wrong is wrong. There is no gray area with grammar most of the time. People. Crazy people. All right, I want to focus and shine a spotlight on this man because I am a big fan of his in the Senate. Big fan. And, you know, when we have conservatives that are really, you know, I'm gonna do my best Bad Bunny impression here and pop into some Spanish. When we have conservatives who are showing cojones, we like to shine a spotlight on them. And this is Senator Eric Schmidt from Missouri. He is a bad man. He does not play. Now, he was in a hearing questioning Robert Weissman. Robert Weissman is a lowlife, and he runs the Public Citizen, which is an NGO that stands for non-governmental organization, and it's funded by, you guessed it, Soros, George Soros and Alex Soros. Now, this is Senator Schmidt questioning this dirtbag. Listen to this exchange.
Racist.
Are deportations racist? It depends. They can be racist,
okay.
For sure.
Is ICE racist?
I think the practices of ICE right now are abhorrent and should be abhorrent, exactly as you said, for American values. I think the practices of ICE right now are...
But ICE itself, the organization, is a racist.
The enforcing immigration and customs laws per se is not racist. What ICE actually is doing, I believe, can fairly be characterized as racist. Sir.
All right. I asked this because we did a little bit of digging into Public Citizen and found two things. One is you're funded by George Soros, correct?
The Open Society Foundation is one of our funders, yes.
And you call just about everything you don't like racist.
That is not true. But
okay, well, I'm going to give you a few examples.
Sure.
On December 11th, 2019, Public Citizen tweeted that the banking sector as a whole is racist. On August 17th, 2021, Public Citizen sent in a press release that algorithmic racism was a major problem and that we need to start creating anti-racist algorithms. On December 23rd, 2020, Public Citizen tweeted that our healthcare system is a racist abomination. On April 7th, 2023, Public Citizen tweeted that expelling two Tennessee state reps for violating the legislature's rule was racism. On April 15th, 2021, Public Citizen tweeted that law enforcement in this country has been overrun by racism. On June 25th, 2020, Public Citizen tweeted, racism is the reason D.C. is not a state. On January 15th, 2019, Public Citizen tweeted that asking about citizenship status on the census was racist. On August 24th, 2020, Public Citizen tweeted, defund our racist, hyper-militarized, murderous American police force. On July 10th, 2020, Public Citizen tweeted that law and order is a racist dog whistle. Do you stand by these statements?
Well, I appreciate the depth to which you've gone of research. In the context of all those statements, yes, sir.
So all of those things are racist?
If you want to go through them, we can talk.
So here's,
sure.
I'm really glad. Hold on.
Okay.
I'm glad for this moment of clarity because a lot of witnesses would try to sidestep that.
That's correct.
But what you have shown in the questioning we've seen before, in just these examples, the public interest isn't your interest at all. It is not your interest at all. You use racism as an attempt to intimidate people to get your way. And it's not 2020 anymore. The American people are over it. So what you're going to find is we're going to prosecute, and it has nothing to do with race. We're going to prosecute because fraud was committed on a level that is so offensive to this country. Your words that don't mean anything aren't going to stop what's coming. And I want you to take that back to George Soros and all these ridiculous funders you have to try to muddle the issue because justice is coming. And by the way, if I have it my way, we will denaturalize all these fraudsters and send them home. Mr.
Click,
Chairman,
click, boom. Click, click, boom. How about that? Denaturalize and deport. There was somebody on the radio, the little radio show, it's not very, well listened to. It has about 11 listeners, but there's somebody, I can't think of his name, but he has been talking about that same thing, how all of these false accusations of racism are not going to work anymore. We're over that. Who was it? Oh, it was I, the Green-Eyed Patriot. And this is just a prime example. And this isn't something that they've just started. This has been going on for decades. These false cries of racism from these racists. I think Robert Weissman in this hearing is racist. I think Public Citizen is racist. I think George Soros and Alex Soros are racist. That's my opinion. Because of the way that they manipulate and use black people for their evil doings. They use black people and now Hispanics as tools, as weapons to get the power that they seek. And this dirtbag sitting up there, yes, it is. Yes, it is. Because he knows that his sugar daddy, George Soros, wants him carrying out all of this. And he better say what George Soros wants him to say. And if George Soros says, call him racist, then he better, by God, call him racist. I wish somebody would just ask me, why do you and people like you, why do you think you are so superior to black people and Hispanics and women and gays? Why do you think you are so superior? Because obviously you do. Because you come up with all of these little maneuvers to play with the minds and hearts of these people who are just trying to live their lives. You stir them up to go out and fight so you can have power over them. At what age, that's the kind of way you would phrase it, at what age, Mr. Weissman, did you determine or did you decide that you think that you are superior to black people and brown people and women and gays and all the other marginalized groups, quote unquote? Was it when you were young? I mean, an adolescent? Is that when you made that decision? But they think they're so smart. They think they're so clever. It's just like those Democrats that were questioning Scott Bessent the other day, the Treasury Secretary, and he made fools of all of them. And let me tell you why. One of the reasons why? Well, there's several reasons. One is Scott Bessent is a brilliant man. He's very smart. And the other is, now this is going to sound bad, but you know what I'm talking about. You know, I mean it as a compliment. Scott Bessent has quick gay wit. You ever been around gay guys that are just so funny, they just snap them off, one-liners right after the other. If you try to say something to them, they'll come back at you with a quick wit and something clever to say. That's what Scott Bessent is. And that's what he was doing in those hearings the other day. Just making fools of them. But this Eric Schmidt, he's a good one. We're going to keep an eye on him, and hopefully one day I might get to interview him. But then I have to be careful with trying to interview these politicians and stuff, because I don't want the whole thing to turn into a, like a fanboy situation where they're just so geeked out to talk to me that they don't really talk about the issues because they're just so starstruck. So I have to be careful of that. That's why I don't interview a lot of people, because that's not really entertaining to you, John and Joan Q listener. I know. So that's why I don't interview people. I do it for your benefit, as I do everything else. All right, hang on. Got more coming up next. It's the TJ Ritchie Show. Welcome back. Welcome back. In your face, unapologetic conservatism. 704-570-1079 is the phone number. Please join us, won't you? Hey, join us, won't you? Come on. It'll be fun. I promise it'll be fun for you. Okay, let's do this thing.
It's time for the demon of the day.
Wickedness. The demon crabs. Okay, here we go. This is actually going to be, I think, better suited being called the Demon of the Week. Now, I had this clip Wednesday night, and that was the night that WBT disappeared half my show, so I didn't get to the Demon of the Day award. But I saved it for today, so we could go ahead and call this witch the Demon of the Week. This is a woman who looks to be in her, I don't know, maybe late 20s, early 30s. She doesn't just have the typical liberal woman septum ring, like the bull piercing in her nose, or the oxen would have the ring in their nose. Anybody from the 80s will get this reference, but she looks like Hellraiser. Like her whole face is a pincushion, and she has piercings that I didn't even know you could pierce in places. Just spikes all over her cheeks, all up in her forehead, between her eyes, everywhere. Just sparkling silver spikes in her face. Obviously a tortured soul, a miserable person, and a lunatic. And this is what she said in front of a camera and then put it out for all to see on the social medias. This is how crazy this woman is. Just tell me this is not the devil speaking through a liberal white woman.
It comes down to me taking out myself and my kids versus us being taken and harmed by ICE. Like, God help me, I did not want to do it. This is not the life I wanted. But that is a very dark thought that I've had. Death would be a easier out than for my children to be taken and harmed by these pedophiles.
You hear that? First of all, she's deranged because there would be no reason for ICE to even approach her. But this is a way in her twisted mind that she's making herself seem important. She's putting herself out there as being important, because if she weren't important, why would ICE even be thinking about coming after her and her kids? So now ICE, the ICE agents are pedophiles for some ungodly reason, according to her. So if ICE were coming after her and her children, she would kill her children and herself rather than be taken by ICE, those pedophiles. Now, I know a lot of times when we focus on these people who are these deranged, demonic people on social media, and then you'll see an update later, or they lost their job for saying something that evil, or like that Antifa, the self-described Antifa cross-dresser guy that went ballistic and was telling everybody to get their guns and shoot ICE agents and whatever else, allegedly. And he was arrested. That was an update that went all over the social media, and everybody was like, yeah. So there should be a follow-up with this woman, and her kids should be taken away by ICE or anybody else that could get those kids away from that lunatic. She's got to be a danger to them. This is how you know that she's really crazy, other than the face piercings and thinking that ICE is just coming after American citizens and deporting them like the media tells us and like the Democrat politicians say. You know she's crazy and too unstable to have these kids, in my opinion, to be responsible for these kids. She didn't just have these dark thoughts. She had these dark thoughts and then videoed herself, recorded herself saying them, and then posted it on social media because she was proud of those thoughts. Now, do you think little innocent children should be in the care of somebody who does that? I sure don't. And I think that once you reach a certain number of piercings on your face, your kids should be taken from you. Just that alone. Forget the other stuff. But if you're a parent, and I'll give you a few, let's say you got, I know one of my friends has a nose stud, I think, in both nostrils, and she has a bunch of piercings in each ear. So I, say that's fine. But once you go to all the way across the lip, in the nose with the septum ring, in the eyebrows, between the eyes, on the cheeks, I'm going to give you, let's say you're good at, not counting ears, you're good at, let's say, 5 piercings. That should be the limit. And after that, on your face, kids need to go somewhere safe. Then you need to go to the hospital. Now, if you're doing all that to yourself and you don't have kids or anybody innocent that you're responsible for, knock yourselves out. That's cool with me. Cool. But, I mean, and I know you're thinking, that's pretty hypocritical of you sitting there broadcasting from stolen land. I know that's what you're thinking. But still, you got to take a stand somewhere, got to take a stand somewhere. So that is our demon of the day. Hang on. We got more coming up in the last segment. It's the TJ Ritchie Show. I'm your lovable host, TJ. America's coolest conservative. Soon to be America's most successful talk radio host. I can feel it. I can feel it coming in the air tonight. And only going to happen with the support of my people. And you is my people. But a little moment of honesty here on a Friday night. If something doesn't happen soon for this talk radio thing in my world, if I don't have some success soon, then I will no longer be a radio person. It'll be the end of my radio career. TikTok, TJ, TikTok. I don't know what I'm going to do. I can't do anything else. I guess, I don't know, maybe I get a job in some politician's staff or something. Maybe I could be a speechwriter. I don't know, but got to happen soon. It's got to happen soon. All right. I have a clip here from a middle school guidance counselor. She refers to herself as a therapist, though. And you're going to love this. She is, let's see, I don't know where it is, but I got it from the X. And she's talking about the children at her school questioning as to why they have to say the Pledge of Allegiance. She is a no makeup wearing, greasy haired woman. I don't know. I may have played this already because I had it earlier in the week, but I have another thought on it if I did play it. Listen.
I'm a therapist in Minneapolis, and today I had a middle schooler ask me why she has to stand up every day and say the Pledge of Allegiance when liberty and justice is not for all. Literally, middle schoolers get it.
Okay, well, here's the thing. And I do remember playing this now, but she made that story up. I guarantee you, in my opinion, I think she made that up. None of the little children said that. But I say this all the time and people laugh because they think I'm joking, and I am kind of, but in order for something to be funny, it has to have an element of truth to it. And our education system really started going downhill when the slippery slope first appeared, and that slippery slope was when teachers were first allowed to wear blue jeans to school. You know, it used to not be allowed. Now, teachers didn't have to just wear dresses, but they could wear pants and a blouse, whatever they call it. I've never been I never used the term blouse. I just call it a top. But they didn't have to wear dresses to school every day as a teacher, but they had to dress professionally. But once they were allowed to start wearing jeans, then the next thing you know, the jeans turned into just ratty looking jeans and leggings and oversized T-shirts, looking like they just rolled out of bed, no makeup, hair not fixed or hair being purple. or green, piercings all in their face, tattoos blazing, just looking a mess. Like you would think back when I was in school in the 80s, if you walked into a classroom and there was somebody dressed like some of these teachers dressed today, you'd call the cops because you'd think that some vagrant had just come into the class of children off the streets. They would call the cops. They would say, who is this? So obviously, some deranged vagrant has roamed in from the streets into the classroom here and is endangering these children. And I think it's all connected to the leftist mindset in a lot of cases in general, because these annoying radical leftists, they're not happy with themselves. They're miserable people. And you can look at someone, the way they present themselves to the world, and determine whether or not they like themselves. You have to be, you have to put some effort into how you look to show that you care. Like the first thing that you should care about is the way you present yourself to people when you wake up in the mornings. Doesn't mean you have to just live your life worried about what other people think, but put your best foot forward, as they say. And I know of teachers who, in the government school system, who will throw on a pair of ratty leggings and an oversized concert t-shirt, pull their hair back in a ponytail, nasty, needing to be shampooed, and then run out the door to go teach in a classroom all day. So if you don't care about yourself and you're miserable, then you're going to constantly be looking for reasons why you're unhappy and pointing finger at other things that have made you the way you are. And then if you've got that attitude where you don't care about yourself and you think that, the world's against you, then you're going to pass that along to the kids. Think of it this way. Have you ever been sick? Let's say you got a sinus infection or a cold or something, and you just you feel like your head's going to explode every time you cough, your head pounds, one of those types of sickness. But then you just can't get out of doing what you had to do for work that day or whatever the case may be. So you get up, you take a shower, you fix your hair, you pick out something to wear, you're clean and neat looking. You automatically feel better from your sickness. You feel a little bit energized, even if it's for a short time, because I know being sick, you're going to be sick no matter what. But even if it's for that short time, when you're fixed and clean and dressed neatly and you're out the door for people to see you, for you to present yourself to the people around you, you feel better. So I know this sounds shallow and simplistic most of the time, but if I would say the majority of these radical liberals, especially the ones who are teachers, would get up every morning, take a shower, fix their hair, throw on a little makeup, put on an outfit that is not all wrinkly and looks like it just came out of the bottom of the hamper, but just dress nicely and get out to the world, that would lead to your being happier in other aspects of your life. But you got so many of these liberals with a chip on their shoulders all the time. They look in the mirror and they just say, and I'm this way. I don't care because I don't want to be a Barbie doll cheerleader. And But you don't have to be trying to look like a beauty queen or a male model to look your best, to do the best with what you got. It's going to make you feel better, and then in turn make the people you're dealing with feel more confident in you. We don't need these chip on the shoulder, angry, finger pointing, always blaming somebody teachers rubbing off on our kids and indoctrinating our kids. Clean yourself up, throw on a little makeup, put your best foot forward. But God loves you and ain't nothing you can do about it. Nick Craig's up next. We will talk to you Monday.